Even though I'm white and bright, I did not grow up in wealth. I did not grow up being encouraged to go to college myself. And it was when I was in high school that I realized that some students were being pegged for better opportunities and other students were being sort of ignored. And I was one of those students who was pretty much ignored. And everybody just said, well, if you're going to go to college, just go to community college and get a job, because you probably aren't going to be considered appropriate. My GPA was very good, and I studied very, very hard for SAT, but nobody encouraged me to do that. And then when I became a teacher, my first teaching job happened to be in a very affluent community in San Diego, La Jolla, and it was very different than what I knew as a child growing up, because again, my family was on welfare and a bunch of stuff like that. So that was a shock to me, and and then it was in the beginning of the days of busing in the Carlin case, and I watched teachers saying things like, what are we going to do with those kids? And I thought, what do they mean, those kids? And I heard people saying they're not going to have the same skills. So I really got annoyed with that particular school, and I started a school which was a kindergarten through 12th grade school, the first racially balanced school in San Diego, public school. At some point in my life, I was asked to start the first AVID program at middle school, and AVID really resonated with me because it told me that it was possible to take kids who were in the middle, who maybe hadn't been, who were first generation, and if you worked hard enough with them and gave them information, that you could get them qualified and interested in and aware of their capabilities, and you could get them to believe in themselves, and that they just needed more education about the process than probably they were going to get from their parents who hadn't had the experience of being college educated. So being part of that AVID thing really changed my life, and then I left the classroom and became a regional coordinator for AVID, and Crawford was one of my schools. And when I retired and got bored with retirement, I thought, well, what do I want to do? And I missed being around kids. I missed that energy of kids who had hope, but didn't know how to pursue their dreams. So I came to volunteer here in the AVID class, and then I got sucked into Mr. Wynn's class, and then I've been coming here for 4 years to do that volunteer work. Really, absolutely, 1,000% with all of my being, believe that the best way to address the social, emotional, and the academic needs of students who come to us differently abled, who come to us without wealth, who come to us without strong English, is through personalization, and the small school model does that for me. I had experience at a charter school doing academies, and I know that there's conversation at the school about being comprehensive and having pathways, but no one has been able to tell me how that's going to get set up in such a way that we're able to maintain our focus, maintain our cohorts of kids. It doesn't look like it's happening. I mean, at Lincoln High, they have pathways, and they're comprehensive, but they certainly don't have the they're not having the academic success that our kids are having. The other school that I know of that has pathways is Hoover High School. Hoover High School for years and years has benefited from lots of outside money, Price Charities, one organization, for example, and yet they are continuing to struggle with not being able to show academic achievement gains, and I'm not sure why that is. There's been some behind-the-scenes conversation about making this into an IB school, and I love the IB program, but I don't know that that's why our kids choose to bus elsewhere, and I don't believe that that's what would make them come back. I don't think that probably IB is the best option for kids whose English is very limited. Our kids need more English. Our kids need more writing. Our kids need that more than IB. And I also don't think that the district can show through evidence and their research and their data that the IB programs that exist at Mission Bay and the IB program that's one of the schools at San Diego High School, that they are reaching the same demographic as what we have here. Somebody told me 2 years ago that only 4 kids from this neighborhood who choose to bus to Mission Bay, and Mission Bay of course has 80% of the kids bus in, only 4 students from our neighborhoods even tried to get the IB diploma. So I see the IB as a wonderful opportunity for kids, but I also see it as a way just for us to resegregate and for us to create elite programs for kids. I see it taking us away from our D-tract model where we allow every single student who wants the opportunity, for example, to be in a calculus class to be there. I just want to know how much I appreciate all you do for your children. I know deep in my heart that you have their best education in mind, but I also know that sometimes you may not understand enough about the way our schools work, so that it must sometimes be difficult for you to make good choices. So I just want to say, please come to school, ask for help, ask that things be translated if you need things to be translated, and whatever you do, just stay involved. And ask your kids what's going on at school. A lot of what's happening right now for us has to do with the fact that they may take away some of our small school philosophy. We think that that's really the thing that's helped us be really successful. We don't want that to happen, and many of your students really understand what the issues are. So talk with them. When you can come to meetings, come. If you can't come to meetings, please know that we know that you care. And thanks a lot for doing all you do to help your kids be successful.